Hello all, and welcome to this Monday night post-work beer review. Yeah, which I'm going to dub, This Camera Sucks. How many years have I been complaining about this camera? I've been complaining about my setup. I should really do something about it, shouldn't I? I don't know. One of these days this thing's going to break, and then that'll be it for the reviews. No more. It'll just disappear into the ether. Anyways, what are we going to be reviewing? Well, the next beer from the Bottlehead series. This is Alaskan. This is Alaskan Brewing Company. This is their winter seasonal, their winter ale. But it is not the winter warmer style. It's not classified as a winter warmer. It's classified as an old ale, which apparently is an ale that has been aged and sometimes treated with Brettanomyces. Um, and I think this is the first one that I've actually ever sampled of this style. So this is an ale brewed with spruce, so Sitka spruce tips, 6.4 ABV. It's been outside the refrigerator for about 5 to 10 minutes because I've been having trouble with the camera. It doesn't want to focus. I really want the camera where I can just go and manually set focus because it's not like I'm going in and out. I don't need it to follow me. I just need it to go and stay at, one sort of focal point. All right. So this is Best Buy 021026. So yeah, I'm actually really curious as to how this one is going to turn out. So let's go ahead and get these open. Hope it doesn't trigger me allergies. And get to it, shall we? It's been a stressful day at work. I really want this. I kind of wonder if I should have used a stout glass instead, but meh. We'll figure it out. Why am I giving this such a vigorous pour? Vey. Okay, probably a little bit too vigorous of a pour here. About 2.5 fingers worth. Huh. I was expecting this to be darker. Style guides kind of said that this was a fairly dark malted style. Nicely carbonated, with a thick, fluffy off-white head. Yeah. Huh. So, despite the light coloration, I'm getting a lot more darker scent, a darker bouquet. Kind of carob. Dried berries. I'm not actually getting much pine at all, which is interesting. Considering this was brewed with pine, you would think it would have quite a pine hit to it. But, just because something is, we expect pine in a lot of beers because we've been sort of conditioned by West Coast style IPAs, but that's not necessarily the case that some things, brewed with pine would also be piney. Yeah, maybe just like a hint of pine there, more of the green essence of it, you know, rather than the resin. But yeah, carob, dried berries. Some light herbaceous notes there. Yeah, interesting. I forgot to go and look at that and see if no, it doesn't seem. Actually, it does have a fairly detailed write-up on this. Old, but detailed. English Old Ale, traditionally malty with the warming sensation of alcohol. Old ales are brewed in the fall as winter warmers. Brewed in the style of an English Old Ale, this ale balances a sweet, heady aroma of spruce tips with a clean, crisp finish of noble hops. Well, that explains the herbaceousness. Its malty richness is complemented by the warming sensation of alcohol. 6.4 ABV, by the way. Forgot to mention that. Alaskan Winter is made from glacier-fed water, Sitka spruce tips, and a generous blend of the finest quality European and Pacific Northwest hop variety and specialty malts. Our water originates in the 1,500 square mile Juneau ice field and from more than 90 inches of rainfall we receive each year. Huh. Yeah. Did I give the coloration? Yeah, it's just kind of a orangey golden coloration. Yeah, let's get this on the palate. Wow. That's very different. So mildly sweet up front. Almost like a milk chocolatey note, while at the same time it's very brief, and then kind of bittering hops kind of come in. Top note up front is strongly, even more sweet than like milk chocolate, like white chocolate almost in the top note. Sounds odd, you know, you wouldn't expect it for a beer of this coloration, but okay, let's keep going here. Yeah, so woodiness in the front to mids that kind of intensifies in the finish. It sort of melds along the spectrum with the hopping. And there's this interesting tang in the finish. You know, just a very slight acidity. Interesting. Really interesting. This takes us on quite a sleigh ride of flavor, up and down some interesting hills there. The mouthfeel is a little bit tannic, which is interesting because there doesn't seem to be like an overwhelming hop presence here, which is what I sort of expect from that kind of tannic, drying mouthfeel. Um, I'm guessing it's probably from the pine tip, the Sitka um, spruce tips. Again, not really resiny. There's some pininess in the top note, especially in the mids, into the finish. But it mostly seems to be a kind of almost a woodiness there in the long finish as well. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. I'm not really getting like much in the way of spice notes, however. Just kind of very like light milk chocolate, white chocolate kind of notes, and then almost strangely orangey, herbaceous orange note. And it's not really clashing as at all either. It's really quite interesting because it's quite a disjunct in between those flavors there, but somehow they're working. And it's triggering my allergies. Well, this wouldn't be on the top of my winter warmers list by far. Of course, that would go to. Actually, I haven't sat down and thought about it, but yeah, that's a pretty good question because winter warmers are one of my favorite styles. One that's not very well distributed in Hawaii, for obvious reasons. Very little need for winter warmers. Yeah. Usually I kind of dislike this kind of flavor combinations where they're sweet and herbaceous at the same time, um, which is odd because I really like it in absinthe and chartreuse, but but I don't really like it in beers for whatever reason. Probably because the hop aspect is what clashes with it for me. But I'm kind of liking this one. Very, very, very different, I would say. I hate how this allergies have made it so I can't really enjoy like the bouquet because the bouquet was actually really nice, really added to the appeal of this beer while you're sipping it. And yeah, well, I can kind of go and fix that by blowing my nose, but I don't really want to do that on camera if it's not fully running. So yeah. Oh, Alaskan Brewing Company, Winter Ale, which is an old ale brewed with Sitka spruce tips. A very interesting beer. I have a feeling you'll either like it or hate it. Um, it just has such an odd combination of flavors and aromas. But definitely do give it a shot if winter warmers are something you like to visit every winter. And on, a completely unrelated note, today is the day before Veterans Day. I know a couple of you who watch this are indeed veterans. Well, in the United States, it's a United States holiday. Um, Here's to you guys. Cheers, and enjoy a good beer. Cheers. That's your beer review for tonight, folks.